welcome to this introduction event. Let me introduce myself first because I am also new to this community. I am Dr. Sarma, lecturer at the Department of Civil Engineering, and on behalf of all of you, I would like to welcome Dr. Himanta Sarma, Honorable Minister for Education, Family and Welfare, Health and Family Welfare. As all of you know, that Dr. Himanta Sarma has been instrumental in contributing substantially in education as well as in health sectors. And I've got a long list what he has done over the last few years. You can see here, I'm not going in details. We'd like to hear from himself what he's been doing and other things for the last few years and what he's going to do to make our Assam more lively and more one of the maybe top 5 states in India. Now, I'd like to welcome 3 senior IAS officers. We are here with us Mr. Subhash Chandra Das, Additional Chief Secretary, Education. There are so many departments, again, health, disaster management, and so many other departments he's looking for. But here is education, so I'm emphasizing more on education department. Here we have with us Mr. Himanta, who is looking for finance and tourism. Here we have with us Mr. Himanta Sarma, who is Commissioner and Secretary, Education, both higher and technical, as well as Social Welfare Department. I am also thankful to Mr. M. Subarayu, Consul General of India in Perth, for his support to make this event successful. Honorable Minister met Education Minister yesterday and also signed MOU. In fact, Mr. Subhash Chandra Das has signed MOU with 13 WICs in presence of Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister has also visited Polytechnic West, and the main idea is to work closely with the education systems here in WA or more in general with Australian education, and to do more than what has been doing in Assam for the last so many years. So a lot of dialogues have been going on, and collaborative research and all these things will happen in the near future. Now, may I request our Honorable Minister to address the celebrities.
Ọসমীয়াতে ক'ব বিচাৰিছিলোঁ but once Mr. Raidu is here, so I think this is not proper for me to speak in Assamese and he used it. Mr. Himanta Das, he is our Additional Chief Secretary Finance. Mr. Subhash Das, he is our Additional Chief Secretary Education. Himanta Sarma, he is our Commissioner Higher and Technical Education. And Mr. Subarayu, Consulate General of India in Western Australia, and all my friends, my elders, my juniors, and my colleagues. First of all, I am very happy and delighted that we could meet here today. In fact, we came here on 24th. Of course, I joined the delegation only on 27th, but the delegation has come to this place on 24th. Basically, this visit was happened because of Mr. Salim Bormia. We all know that he is working in Curtin University and he is doing research and he is doing exceptionally well. So we are in touch with him for last 1.5 years. Basically, it was his feedback that we all must see the system of education in Australia and if something can be taken back home. So that was the idea, and on his invitation, later on that invitation was extended by Curtin University for us to come here to see it. So we all came here, and tomorrow we are leaving. Today, when Dr. Salim has told us that we should meet our diaspora in here, of course, it is also really good for us to meet all of you and take some of feedback from all of you. As you know that in Assam we have very turbulent history decades ago. Then from 2001 we gradually started stabilizing ourselves, and today by all parameters we can't say in India that we are a state which is bottom of the list. At least we have come to the middle of the list, and we aspire to be in the top 5 among the Indian states. So that was all along our aspiration, that when India will be superpower, Assam should be also one of the strongest states of the country. We should not see it as a burden for the country, rather we should be seen as an engine of growth for our country. So that was our intention, that was our dream, and we are pursuing it. For last 3-4 years, we are giving lot of emphasis on education. We have been to United States of America. We have studied the system of community college there. Then our Chief Minister has visited UK. He has also seen there the vocational education, particularly on skill-based education here, and I also got this opportunity to see this what is happening here in Australia. We are very fortunate that we have had to meet, or we have got Mr. Subaya Raidu, who has just been appointed as a Consulate General from under diplomatic relation. India is engaged with Australia, more particularly with his home. We got real opportunity to meet many of the state departments, officials of Australia, and also we have able to meet many of the leaders of the education world of Australia, mainly Western Australia yesterday, and entire delegation we have had a very fruitful interaction yesterday in his home. I am deeply thankful to Mr. Subaya Raidu because the kind of interest he has taken on Assam, and I am also very happy to see the kind of relation he has developed here, although that his office is new, but already he has made his inroad to all the power corridors of Western Australia. He was telling me last evening that whenever India observed Republic Day, Independence Day, at his invitation, the Chief Minister, the Premier, the Leader of Opposition, almost all who attends India's Republic Day and Independence Day celebration, and they are taking deep interest on Indian affairs. So the very purpose of establishing Consulate General here seems to be succeeded, and we hope to develop as a country a very strong relationship with Western Australia. I request our Assamese community also to be in touch with our Consulate General and be part of be part of our Indian community. Because whether in country there or whether we live in Australia, whether we live in America, we must have a vibrant link with our Indian society, and also we should represent here also in Indian community in Western Australia or wherever. Assam voice must be heard. So we must represent there. We should go to their meeting whenever India is discussed, whenever some good thing about Western Australia, Indo-Western Australia relationship is discussed, or some schemes, some scholarship are thought of, so that in Assam is represented, Assam voice is heard. So that is why I feel that the community here must be in touch with Consulate General, and we should develop a very vibrant link with Indian community living in Western Australia. We are in fact privileged that today the main Indian association, the secretary Mr. Agarwala, he is from Assam, from Nagarkotia, and that is also very, it's also really a good news for all of us. Now coming back to our purpose of visit, we want to create as much as scope possible for our young generation. I have many of us has identified that we are from we studied at the same time in our college, and I am very happy that all of you has really done well in your life and is here. But there may have been many other students who studied together, but they could not prosper or they could not develop the way we are doing today because of lack of information, lack of opportunity, which is there in Assam, which was not there in Assam a few years back. But now economically we have become stable. We are growing at 6-7% per year. At least we are in a position to invest in education now. We are in a position to invest in health. We are in a position to invest in our connectivity. So we are doing our bit. But at the same time, we recognize that without education and without relevant education, our state cannot prosper. It will continue to have a limit. So that is why we wanted to bring the modern education, the relevant education back to our state. We have very carefully studied two things here. One is higher education and one is vocational education. We have gone to Polytechnic. We have seen my colleagues and both the additional chief secretary and commissioner, they have visited almost 3 polytechnic here, and yesterday I was in Polytechnic West, which is a government funded polytechnic, and we have seen the way they are giving training to the students of their polytechnic. While focusing Assam is all around theory and basically we do lot of things within classroom, the focus here in Western Australia and West Australia, or that matter in many of the advanced country, today focuses on the workshop. They have combined both theory and practical in a manner that they goes out from the polytechnic, they don't have to go for another kind of training program, and they become ready for job, or they become job ready the moment they get certificate from the polytechnic. I am also looking after health. I am just bringing out the difference between the education here and back in Assam. If our students got postgraduate in ophthalmology, he is supposed to be a doctor from the day one. But many of our young students say that during their study, they only learn theory. After they pass out, they again go to an eye center, maybe Sankar or maybe many of the good hospital in India. They again admit themselves, get 6 months hands-on training, then only they can come back and do independent surgery. So they know theory, they know everything, what is cataract, what is glaucoma, or everything they know. But when it comes to actually that you deliver something the day you passed out, they can't. They have to go back again to a hospital and they train themselves. Then only they come back and they perform surgery. Of course, after that they become good doctor, that is a different story. But that is not right kind of education. So we have decided that we go back to Assam, and we will try to see that whether we can establish at least one polytechnic which is at par with any of the advanced country. I have been there in USA, seen the polytechnic community college system there. Now I got the first-hand experience here in Western Australia. So if we can just set up one polytechnic like Polytechnic West of Western Australia, and the same kind of environment, same kind of workshop, and same kind of education. So I think then one institute can create the atmosphere which will be replicated by all other institutes. So we had a detailed discussion yesterday. We have decided to engage in a very serious discussion whether we can have a tie-up between one of the Assam Polytechnic and Polytechnic here, and the curriculum will be controlled, curriculum will be monitored by the people in Western Australia, by the TAFE authority, and the degree will be a dual degree. Sitting in Assam, the student can get the degree from Assam University, Guwahati University, and at the same time they will also have the degree from the Australian authority. So that dual technology will solve the purpose first, that sitting in Assam they will have the advantage of having an Australian degree which can at some point of time give them good job opportunity here, but otherwise also their quality, their academic ability will be at par with their graduate or diploma holder of Australia. So that is one of the things we have discussed yesterday, and almost we have decided to do this, and I am very fortunate that in this delegation we are accompanied by also our Additional Chief Secretary Finance. Basically, we may have intention, but we can't do anything without fun. So yesterday evening itself, we have all sat together and we have decided, no, we will at least establish one institute so that they can, that institute can be a model for all other institutions to replicate in a later period of time. So after the discussion, we met Deputy Vice Chancellor of Curtin University. Vice Chancellor was in Sydney, but we do meet the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Curtin University. He also, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, had also joined us in dinner yesterday evening in the Consulate General Residence. So we had a very intense discussion with the authority of Curtin University. We have signed a memorandum of understanding with Curtin University. The idea is threefold. One, that whenever our government allow establishment of foreign university, as of now Indian law does not allow independent establishment of a foreign university, but that day Government of India allowed, or that bill is in Parliament, the moment Parliament approved that bill, at least we can have one or two foreign universities staying within Assam. We have worked out the cost assessment with Curtin. They have a campus in Malaysia, they have a campus in Sri Lanka, and we have seen that the way we are funding our own university now, that having a good alliance with Curtin should not be a big problem. We will be able to do that because they are spending around 200 crores rupees for establishing university in Sri Lanka and Malaysia. But in Assam also we are spending almost 200 crores for upgrading Cotton College as a university. We are spending almost 350 crores rupees for one single medical college. We are doing 9 now. We had 3 last 60 years. Recently, we have completed with 3 medical colleges costing around 300 crores each, and 4 more is under construction. So that way, going by the economics of the economics involved in this establishment of foreign university should not be a big problem. because that will be under a joint arrangement. They will bring money, we will put money, and that should not be a very big problem. But that is a direction which we are moving ahead. But as of now, we are thinking that one of our established university will have a kind of agreement with Cardin, which will allow that university to upgrade the syllabus to the level of Cardin. Now in India, the problem, in Assam, the problem is that I know in Guwahati University, the chemistry department has not modified their syllabus for last 26 years. It is not 1 or 2 years. Last 26 years they have not modified their syllabus. So with the involvement of Cardin, we want to upgrade our syllabi, whether it is physics, whether it is chemistry, whether it is engineering college, and of course we have seen many of you from Assam Engineering College. So Assam Engineering College is our focus area. So at least with the help of Cardin, if we can upgrade the university syllabi curriculum of engineering syllabi and curriculum of Assam Engineering College, that will be a very great, I think that will be very great thing. Second, once they come there to do for the purpose of upgrading syllabus curriculum, we have also discussed with them whether again dual degree with Cardin is possible. Suppose in Guwahati University a student study biotechnology or student study engineering, the same degree, because syllabus is common, the transaction of classes will be monitored by the Cardin, and at the end of their course, say last 6 months, our student can come to Cardin and just they can have the same standard that of Cardin. So that is another area we have discussed. We have also discussed that to promote joint research. Now there are many of the areas where Cardin and our faculty back home can jointly do research on many subjects. Now yesterday we had a very good discussion with our Deputy Vice Chancellor. He has told us that Australian government has no problem in investing money for research, even in India or any other country, provided that research will also benefit the university as a whole. So that joint research is another activity we have discussed. And finally, we have discussed another new center, because we all know that today students do not want to study mathematics, students do not want to study more on science. Once we have seen that we have a district called Nogam, recently we had a study there. We found that 2,700 students are pursuing arts in graduation level, and only 60 students are pursuing science at the graduation level. So that kind of difference, that kind of disequilibrium is not good for any state. Now, how to simplify the education of maths and science so that students at the school level do not feel that this is something very tough, we should go for the social science or we should go for the arts. So keeping students in science stream, involving them in mathematics, so that is again one of the issues we have discussed. And Cardin has said that they have an invitation for Myanmar government to start an institute of science and mathematics. So, but they, for some reason, they do not want to go to Myanmar immediately. So we have discussed that if we can establish that center in Assam, that can be a hub for students from Myanmar, students from Bangladesh, students from Bhutan to come into the Guwahati or the places nearby, and we can develop that institute as an institute for Southeast Asia. So many of these things have been discussed yesterday with me, and prior to that with our delegation. In part of those discussions, we have signed a memorandum of understanding with Cardin University. They will go to Guwahati on June-July. They will have a scope study depending on the willingness of our teacher, willingness of our university, willingness of our colleges to join hands with Cardin. After that scope, we will develop a project report. And once project report is done, we want to do something concrete in Assam. So we have fixed a timeline that will start the process now. From March we have started the process, rather on 28 February we have started the process, and we want to bring something positive by the next year at this time, so that something durable, something positive we can bring back or we can do for our state. So these are the two areas which where we have spent our time for last 3 days. Of course, my colleagues has spent 5 days. I spent 3 days, and we have very. We believe that we did receive certain things. We have able to establish preliminary contacts thanks to our Consul General and thanks to the help from Dr. Selim. We will be able to brought something back to Assam, and we can carry forward our works from the foundation which we have laid in last 3 to 4 days. This thing initially for the people who is not in Assam for at least for a few years, I know that somebody will feel that whether it is possible in Assam. Because obviously when I am sure somebody, few people have come here on 2012, 2011, they have seen the changes, but the students or the professionals who has left Assam around 2002, 3 or before 2000, these are things very hard to believe. That is it possible in Assam? But we have achieved many things in last 5 to 6 years. If you remember that Assam traditionally we have 3 medical colleges, Jorhat, Silchar, Guwahati. Now we will be very happy to know that in 2011 we started Jorhat Medical College, in 2012 we started Borkata Medical College, and recently 1 month back we started Tezpur Medical College. Not only that, the first batch of Jorhat Medical College graduate will come out in 2015. And while I was in Australia, yesterday I got a very good news from our people back home that Medical Council of India has also upgraded Jorhat Medical College to a postgraduate college. They have allowed 12 discipline, postgraduate study, 12 discipline. So that kind of things we are doing. Now again we have started work for another 4 medical colleges. One is in Pokradar, one is in Difu, which is progressing very well. Another one is Lakhimpur, and another one is Dhubri. So think about our state, that the state which did not have added a medical college since 1970. Today, just span of 6-7 years, we have completed 3 medical colleges and 4 is under construction. Many of you are from engineering background. You know that in Assam traditionally, whenever in our school days, there are quiz. How many medical colleges, engineering colleges in Assam? So we always answer that we have 3. One is Silchar Regional Engineering College, one in Guwahati, and one in Jorhat. But today, thing has changed. Even in Dhemaji, in a district like Karimganj, the engineering colleges are being set up. The work is going on full stream. Golaghat Medical College is coming, and already we have now in Assam we have 17 engineering colleges, which traditionally we had 3 engineering colleges for the last 6 years. Now we are dreaming so high that in district like Dhemaji, the construction of engineering colleges is going on in full stream, and we hope to start that engineering college from 2015. So kind of the same. Earlier we were always attached to some university, but today Assam Science and Technology University has set up. Our University of Medical Science is working separately. And traditionally we know that Assam has 2 universities, Guwahati and Dibrugad. Then later on Silchar and Tezpur Central University were added. But today you see that Cotton College has been upgraded to a university. Kumar Bhaskar Verma University has added in Nalbari. Then one Women University is going to be there in Jorhat. Already classes will start from next year. So the kind of development which we did not thought few years ago that it is possible, but these things are happening in our state. Now recently we got, you know that IIT was there after for a decade. But now we have got Indian Institute of Information Technology, a national institute. TCS chairman, former TCS chairman, managing director Dr. Ramadurai has taken over as the chairman of governing council from yesterday, and IIIT has started classes. So now Indian Institute of Information Technology, first in Northeast, and probably IIIT is not in West Bengal, but we have started. Then Petroleum University is being established by Government of India in Sibsagar. So academically, our footprint is now has gone to almost every corners of our state. But the people who left Assam prior to 2000 or prior to in 90s or in 2000, for them it is very difficult to live. Now there is hardly any important places in Assam which is not connected by good road network. Now Guwahati Airport, one of the busiest airport in our state, restricted area permit has been withdrawn, tourists is coming. So there are so many developments in our state that now we do not, I think we have no hesitation in saying that Assam is now a very, very important state in our country. Earlier we think that, oh, Assam, who knows, who will do that. But now Assam has changed. Recently we have, the Assam administration is been changing. We are bringing huge transparency in our government. Now teachers are being appointed. Nobody can say that there are nepotism, there are something. So we have been made complete system, a complete transparent one. And Assam economy is growing at par with all other Indian states. The Indian growth, the government of India's growth rate is now 5%, but our state is growing over 6%, and hopefully that will pass 9-10% this year. So these are really very good news, and which indicate that now Assam is ready. Assam has established itself for a big jump. So we want to be catalyst on that. We want to give new hope, we want to fulfill the aspiration of our young generation, and on that way, on that path, we are trying to contribute whatever way we can. So I feel that this is a time where we should look back home and we should try to be an ambassador of Assam wherever we live. Earlier whenever we used to go some places, we made hardly any Assamese family. But recently I was in Chicago. I have seen a huge Assamese community. Our colleagues they have gone to Seattle, huge Assamese community. We have seen a growing Assamese community in Western Australia, Sydney, Melbourne. Many Assamese families have started, now they have established themselves as a very good professionals. So this is the time we should think big about our state. My appeal to you all will be that stay connected to our state. Whatever we can contribute to our state, we should. And always people think that people are coming out of Assam. Why people are coming in out of Assam? I always feel that that is the indicator of the development. People say that concept of brain drain, but I believe the concept of brain bank. Because what is brain drain? Because if there is a mining somewhere, then people has to go to that area. People can't, a mining engineer can't sit in some places in Assam and saying that I am a mining engineer and I don't have job. If there is mining in Western Australia, we have to come there. If Bangalore has the internet revolution is in Bangalore or in some places, then Assamese boy will go there. And likewise, whenever if we have a white revolution in Assam, the agricultural scientists will come to Assam. Because their concept that we should be confined to the limits of Assam, that is not there. No American live in America, they are everywhere. No Australian live in Australia, they are in everywhere. So wherever there is an opportunity, we must go. But at the same time, once we develop ourselves, we master certain things on our own profession, we should be always ready to contribute to our state, or we should stay connected to the state. Wherever your expertise, your help, you feel that will strengthen Assam, we should contribute that in without any hesitation. So I believe in concept of brain bank. I don't believe in concept of brain. So hopefully all of you are our banks, all of you are our checks, all of you are our fixed deposit, and the people of Assam will be anticipated as and when it needed. So thank you very much for joining us here today. And if you want to know anything, me and my colleagues all we are ready to give you some of the inputs about Assam if you want to know anything. And of course, once again, I want to thank Selim for organizing this evening. And he's an example of good brain bank here, because every month, every week, he stay connected with our people. Whatever good has happened in this place, he inform us, and he always tell us to take advantage of this thing. So we want proactive Assamese, and hopefully we all will do. And we have also decided the way Government of India has organized the Pravasi Indian Summit. So we are also thinking of doing the same thing, so that we can create a good network of Assamese professionals who are now residing in all over the globe, and hopefully we will be able to develop that soon. And again, my appeal to all of you that please stay connected. And Selim has my email ID, everything is there with him, and he will be sharing that with you. And we have also all of us who are here, everybody will stay connected to you, and so that whenever you feel that something good we can bring back from Western Australia to Assam, please do inform us, and please stay connected. Thank you very much.
Three specific questions. You did mention about Dhemaji Engineering College, and which is really good thing, because that's the only engineering college which I see which is coming up in the North Bank right now. If you leave aside IIT, where general people from Assam do not get into admissions because it's an all India competition, Tesco University, okay, it has got some engineering skills, but as such, Dhemaji is the first engineering college in whole of North Bank. And from branding point of view, as you said, that from 2015 the graduates will be out in the market. So instead of is there any plan to give a name, like instead of calling it Himanta Engineering College, like North Assam Engineering College or something like that, so that when the guy he goes to Bombay or Gujarat or something, instead of saying that I'm a graduate from Himanta Engineering College, he can say, okay, I'm a graduate from North Assam Engineering College. Immediately then people could say, okay, there's a legacy, okay, there's a Assam Engineering College, there's a North Assam Engineering College. So that's something I think we could keep in mind in naming the institutes. Instead of going for very specific names like, say, Golaghat or something, if we could think of something related, so that people from outside also could relate, okay, this is a place we know, instead of saying directly Dhemaji Engineering College. And second would be, say, like, as you said, there's so many medical colleges coming up. That is really unheard of, means in a short span of few years. And as I see in these colleges, the faculty, they form an integral part of those college life. And if there is a tendency of those faculties to basically say, move or go from a bigger city like Guwahati for, say, 4 or 5 days, and again come there during weekends from Borpeta to again Guwahati, it does create a situation where you feel that, okay, means there is not much attachment from the faculties as far as that institute is concerned. Is there any steps you might be thinking of where we could say encourage those faculties always to stay there? Okay, you can take leave and come to Guwahati or anywhere, but because if you see that if you have the mindset of those visiting faculties, it doesn't help. It's good. It's like that's another thing. And third one I had was, you did mention about this petroleum university which is coming up in Sibsagar. We also have some petroleum institute under Dibrugarh University, which is I think it just produces diploma in petroleum technology or petroleum engineering. Curtin, as I know, is very much advanced in petroleum engineering and reservoir engineering, all those streams. So I think there could be an area where Curtin University could also collaborate with Dibrugarh University's that branch for furthering that institute, which has been there since I think 1991 or I think from early 90s.
I'll respond a few questions, and of course our colleague will join here. The suggestion of Dhamaji is very good because recently we have established a medical college in Tezpur. There is a tremendous demand from local people to give it in the name of Chandranath Sarma. Then we registered it. We said that many people in globe have not heard about the name of Assam. Even considering is to be Tezpur is a big thing. But then if you give the name to somebody, people in outside world feel that it must be some family college and it is not, that branding will not come. So in Dhamaji, your suggestion is very good and we have not named that institute. Let me go back and see to it. Then again there is another good news for all of us because we know the situation in Dhamaji and Lakhimpur. Tezpur University now going to establish a campus in July, which will offer all these important courses there. And we have recently allotted the land and they are starting their process, temporary classes and building a campus, which will start from this year. So your suggestion is very good. Regarding the medical college, of course, we have those kind of visiting people. I can't deny that. Because you know that our medical colleges were earlier established in most three advanced cities of our state, Dibrugarh, Silchar and Jorhat. The private medical practicing also flourishing in that three areas. So bringing people out from that and putting them in a relatively disadvantaged district was a big thing. But we have gone for a prudent posting that if a person is working in Silchar but he hails from Jorhat, so we are bringing him back to Jorhat. And if a person is from Lower Assam but somehow working in Dibrugarh and Silchar, we are bringing them back to Borpeta. And today the educational atmosphere in new medical colleges are good. Because recently concluded, we have conducted the MBBS exam. Out of first 10 position, all 4 has been gone to Jorhat and other 3 has gone to Borpeta. So it also in a way, because this faculty and students live in isolation and faculties has nothing to do with a private practice because Guwahati a doctor cannot sit quietly. He has to go to some nursing home or somewhere. But Borpeta and Jorhat, that facilities is not there. It is not yet developed. So academically, these 2 medical colleges is doing good. But again, your suggestion will again go back and see that whatever more we can do. And regarding, of course, that Curtin University and Dibrugarh University, that is a petroleum things. That of course, when that scope study they are going on July, we will point out that institute also. I think you can.
We have a small correction. You know, Girijananda Institute of Management and Technology.
Hi.
They have opened an engineering college in Tezpur under the PPP mode. It's a partnership with Government of Assam. So it's already started functioning there. So I think the first year has been already admitted last year, first year students. So 1 year they have completed. So Tezpur we are going to have one engineering college.
So North Assam will have 2.
So
but this is a very good solution. That North Assam Engineering College, if we give the name, then brand value will increase.
Yeah. Well, I would really like to congratulate for the great steps you are taking, and I'm very sanguine that this will bear great fruits in the future. But all these things are concerning tertiary education, research. A person who is into research will find his way all over the world and go there. My concern is at a little lower rate, our population increasing in India. Here in Australia, I have seen for a very small job also you have to have an Australian education and you have to have a qualification. Like even for serving alcohol, you got to have a course, 1 month, 2 month course. Even to be a waiter, you have to have Australian education. So my concern in India and Assam as well, with our growing population, growing urbanization, the need of urbanization in the rural areas, there are plenty of things which just go on, like plumbing, electrician, and those kind of things which people just do because they finally they can't achieve anything, so they end up doing that. What I actually mean to say is the person after doing 12th, he goes to do BA because there is nothing else to do. That is how we go. So we have to do a graduation. So we go for BA. We study 3 years for BA. We take admission in MA, and then again I go to Guwahati for the army selection if I can become a sepoy. I do that. Then secondly, if there is a peon vacancy, I apply for that. So personally, I feel those 4 years after 12th is a national wastage of resources if a man has to become a peon. So the crux of the matter is, couldn't we have small courses which qualify a man, which helps him get into some kind of, what should I say, vocational training, a real vocational workable training, give him a license to work, give him the prestige to work, give him that joy and appreciation of working whatever he is. And these are very serious needs, the kind of the way we are increasing, we are bringing urbanization into rural areas. So with all you people sitting here, I mean, you can think of something like we can have a 4 months course only for plumbing, and then we can have a syndicate for an area, say in Guwahati, say Zunarangi Road. So this is the area looked after by this plumbing company. Like they have it here, and they have a respect for the man, and he earns good, he is proud of what he is doing, and he is a qualified man. I have been a colonel in army, but I don't know ABC of plumbing. So I mean, there is such a gap. So if there is somebody who is a plumber, I'll give respect for his job. But in India, I don't do that because I know he's failed in life, so he's become that. I don't know if I'm being able to clear myself. What I mean to say is we should have crisp vocational courses. That is what TAFE is doing. That is what TAFE does. There are courses from 2 weeks to 1 year. So you just go there and enroll. It is a good way for the government, for the institute to earn revenue. It's not very costly. We can do a course for 5,000 rupees. 5,000 rupees is nothing to learn a plumbing course. And that money goes to, increase the institute, to make the institute much better. Because I firmly believe this tertiary education, engineering, medical, veterinary, research, PhD, people who are keen to it will find a way to do it. And if they don't do it, Indian scientists are not doing something about, say, maybe bringing new editions of mobile, Steve Jobs and his company will do it and it will come to my country and my people will use it. But the basic needs, how to maintain cleanliness, how to have good roads, how to maybe have good drainage systems. So unless until we have qualified people who take pride in their job and the right age, there is no need to do a MSc and come back and do the plumbing thing. With my pop's money, if I have 1 lakh rupees, I start a business, a plumbing business. If I don't, I don't. So that is what I mean to say. Could we have that kind of an arrangement? Maybe.
One thing I'd like to add here is, like in here, doing a graduation, going to university is a big thing because it's expensive. That's why, everyone is not studying in a university. Someone who wants to be a plumber, he goes to a TAFE, he does a 1 year degree, 1 year certificate course, and he gets into plumbing. And there are lots of plumbing jobs, and also they get respect, they get highly paid, and in some cases they are as well paid as people who are in university. And I think it's a very good.
On the converse, if you have not done a TAFE thing, you cannot do plumbing.
You cannot do plumbing.
You cannot serve alcohol. You cannot be a waiter. And it is a qualified job. Even you can answer that. Yeah. It's a maybe big thing.
So we have in year 12, lots of people who may not get in India, in Guwahati especially, in Assam, it's a big thing. So Laura stand korise means coming in the first number 10 or 20. Is it a very big thing in life? It's not a very big thing, but the media makes it to be a very big, that as if you have achieved something that no one has achieved in life. That is a wrong concept, and like basically there should be respect for what the people do. Even someone like, he may not be a brilliant mathematician, but he can be a very good hairdresser, and people should respect that. Like, what's wrong in cutting someone's hair? And if people, and especially in big cities, people are earning lots of money in Bombay, Bollywood. Some of the hairdressers, they are earning big money.
It
The
requires
same
a lot
thing,
of talent to cut hair for people like me.
the same thing can be done in Assam as well. Bring up those vocational courses, which, like, small things, which help people who may not be brilliant in academics, but they can still succeed in life, and they do not join some extremist organization and waste their life, basically.
There is already work going on in this. In India, you would have heard about National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC. Now, Honorable Prime Minister of India had announced a few years ago, our ambition is to skill 500 million people. So, in this direction, PPP model, private-public partnership model, has been the reason behind establishing National Skill Development Corporation. That is one. Second is, with Australia, we already have ongoing cooperation. When I arrived here, Skills Conference, it is India and Australia Skills Conference was held in Perth. It was attended by the Federal Education Minister of Australia, and from our side there was 40-member delegation consisting of senior officials from Ministry of Human Resources Development, Ministry of Labour, lot of private organizations, companies. Now this was held in Central Institute of Technology, which is a very major institute in Perth. And when the Prime Minister of Australia went to India in October 2012, 4 memorandums of understanding were signed. One is between Skills Australia and National Skill Development Corporation of India. So there is already this movement taking place, and I attended that one-day conference that was held here. All our participants from India, during their presentations, they highlighted this social feeling that is attached with the social stigma. I wanted to avoid the word stigma, attached with vocational education. So there is a need for change that is happening in India, and in Australia it is very much happening. And let me report to you that in Western Australia, vocational education and training, there is a lot of collaboration which has already started. Central Institute of Technology is actively involved in collaborating with India, and at high school level, CBSE level, there is now a curriculum, one course which is being introduced, that some students at school level itself can pursue a specialization. So there is a movement taking place in India, and in the world there are only 2 countries who have succeeded in this, good models. One is the German model, second is Australian model. I think India is collaborating with both, and with Australia we have the advantage of language. So there is work going on this.
Thank you.
Before what we are doing in India, before that I'll just like to make a quick point. There's something good happened to Mr. Bhattakur and Mr. Tiwari, one gentleman. So now I'd just like to say something good news for you. Yesterday we went to one of the polytechnics here, and they run hospitality industry. In fact, our lunch, the minister was also there, they organized the lunch in their Institute of Catering. And I was very happy because I had been the chairman of the Hotel Management Guwahati, and another Food Crafts Institute at Samaguri, Nagaon has come up. And what we did, we said, okay, the students, they, as a part of the training, they cook, they said, okay, let us start a restaurant. So in Guwahati also, 2 years back, we started a restaurant. The public can go, and the students, what they cook as a part of the training, and people can come and use that restaurant. And still the bakery that they produce, bakery products, we have started an stall, selling counter in the IHL, and it sells very well. Yesterday when we went, that is exactly the restaurant where they took us for lunch. It was run by the students. And I was very happy because when we went to the kitchen, our Guwahati IHM kitchen, and what you said about alcohol, all these, how to serve the alcohol, how to lay the table, all these things are trained. And another good thing that happened is that in the SAM, since I was looking to tourism, tourists not only go to the star hotels, they sometimes also like to go to roadside dhaba, or even a small hotel, to have SMS food. And our people, our waiters now do not really know how to lay the table, where to put the spoon, where to put the fork. Annually, we have been conducting 4 weeks training programs. In my office peers, if some big, like guest comes to my office, we need to serve a cup of tea. They tell me, they serve in a very clumsy manner. I sent my office peers to my training institute, IHM, and train them how to serve a cup. And you'll be very happy to know, we conduct this 4-week training programs. Anybody can come and free. And last year, 10,000, it's a government of India program called Bonus Se Rozgar Yojana. So 10,000 certificates have been issued. And very low skill, 4 weeks, to waiters, cooks. And about other areas, we have tied up with Don Bosco Institute, Dan Bosco, that you know, that's a very good institute. Even say when our people goes to drivers, when they take tourists, they'll have an unkempt face without uncertain beard. They'll be smoking, they'll bang the door, or they will chew parliament road. These are tourists don't like all this. So we had some 4 training programs for the drivers of tourist cabs. How to be tourist friendly. If it is late at night, suppose the client is late in having dinner, don't bang the door to give a message that I'm in a hurry. So these things have been done, but this has started. Thanks to you, and would like to, as the minister said, what you were seeing here, if you get inputs. And some of that, so I think it's very important. If we can have, as non-resident SMEs Indians directory, I think it's high time that the government of Assam, so we also start like government of India has a Ministry of NRI, Ministry for NRIs. I think time has come, the government of Assam, if not a department, which we can start a cell for the non-resident SMEs Indians. And we have not so far verified because the communication is not there. Your experience, your inputs, as the amendment today, for example, Mr. Pakatani made so very good suggestions. If you can have a continuous, not that we come once in 2 years' time and talk for half an hour. If we have an institutionalized mechanism, I would rather say that we why not have a department to be another department of non-resident Indians. I think we'd like to, on that also, give feedback.
Can I add here? Reacting to your question, very welcome suggestions for See, on vocational training, India, as Mr. Subbaraju has rightly said, we have a stigma. See, in Australia, we asked the same question yesterday in Western Australia Polytechnic. There, 80% of the students, probably who graduate from schools, go for vocational training and 20% go graduate to higher education. Now, similar is the case because in India, the entire mass has to be really trained in education framework. But Australia has done a wonderful thing. They have Australian qualification framework and Australian quality framework. I think there are 2 standards which have been evolved. In India, we have also started NVEQF, National Vocational Educational Quality Framework. There is one more issue that needs to be addressed in India. It's because, I'll find it very difficult to give my their daughter to marry a guy who was studying vocational training in India because there's a stigma. Now, a person who has started or learned welding, why can't he do a PhD in mathematics? That's the seamless movement that is necessary and that should be possible. In Australia, they have the advanced diploma level. They have 4 levels, C1, C2, C3, C4. Then they have diploma. Then they have advanced diploma. Now, advanced diploma is you are ready to go moving to a university. In Assam or in India, we have identified trades where we have C1 and C2. That's certificate 1 and 2. It's class 9 and 10. And 11, 12 is your 3, 4. Then 5, 6, 7 is your graduate level. Now this sir was mentioning about the community colleges. In Assam, we have identified 5 community colleges. In India, we have started, we have 200 to be started. First, community colleges. We have identified Dibrugarh Polytechnic, Lahore, Prince of Wales in Jordan, Assam Engineering Institute, a Women's Polytechnic, where I am 2 works, and all these polytechnics will be community colleges. They will be introducing vocational training. Now, exactly like the Tata, you must be knowing that there are a lot of young boys in Assam who are working in oil rigs in Upper Assam, who have not had a formal education, but they have spent thousands of hours drilling oil. Now, what happens, what this marketability in Goa, if we can spend some time and earn a diploma or a certificate course in theory. So these facilities are going to be possible. This seamless education, these community colleges, which the Honorable Minister has visited USA. And we have seen until West Coast and Western Australia and CIT, the same skilling of the Indian masses have to be carried forward within this qualification framework that has been designed.
Just to conclude, we are also doing NVQF. It's a TAFE model, and some we have introduced in 60 schools, and we have done that. We are going to have this with that organization, Pearson, that they are patronizing our 60 schools, and we are very much on this job. Thank you.
One last question. Yeah, first of all, I appreciate the coming of the medical colleges because I myself was a medical aspirant in 2007 batch and I enlisted by 1 rank. So I can feel the pain and the benefit the upcoming students are coming. Then I joined Assam Engineering College in the electronics department. Then I realized after joining the college, my seniors used to say why have you joined electronics? There are no professors. And it's true. After we joined, when we passed to went to 3rd semester, our professors, our HODs came and told us we don't have professors, and we had to study on our own. When the electronics department was established, there were 15 students, and so there were 3 prominent professors. Then the number of students increased to 30, but the number of professors was still the same. Now it has been to 60, but still the number of professors are 3. So people who have just